Take a few moments and explore and reason on your own. Can you prove two triangles are congruent using angle, angle, angle? Draw some triangles to help your thinking. Pause your video and come back when you've spent some time with this explore and reason. We're now going to talk about angle-side angle congruence criterion theorem. If two angles and an included side are congruent to two angles and an included side, then the triangles are congruent. Take a moment and remember what included means. It means that it is between. So we have a side that is between two angles and a side that is between two angles. So we can say that triangle LMN is congruent to triangle RST. So that is an angle-side angle congruence criterion theorem. The angle-side congruence criterion theorem states that if two angles and a non-included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and a non-included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So if it's not included, then it is not between. So we have angle or side, angle, angle, or angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. So if that is the case, then we can say that triangle UVW is congruent to triangle XYZ. Example 1. State how you know the triangles are congruent. If they cannot be determined as congruent, write cannot be determined. In this first pair, we have an angle, a side, and then an angle. So this is our angle, side, angle congruency theorem. To the right, we see that we have side, side, side congruency theorem. On the bottom left, we have angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side congruency theorem. And on the bottom right, the first one is side, angle, side, which would work. However, when we look at the second one, it is side, side, angle, and those do not match up. So we are going to say cannot be determined. On part B, we're going to use a proof. We're going to try to prove that side FH is congruent to side JL. We're given some information, which is of course the first thing we write in our proof. GH is congruent to KL. I'm going to check to make sure that that is marked in my picture, and it is marked, and it's a side length, so it's marked with a hash. The next thing is that angle GFH is congruent to angle KJL, and GFH is this angle right here, and KJL is this angle right here. So that was marked for me as well. And then lastly, angle FGH was given as congruent to angle JKL, and that is marked here and here. Of course, all of that I'm just going to put together, and I'm going to say given. Often when they have you list these, they will list the individual pieces on different lines, but we're going to go ahead and put that all as given. I'm going to ask myself if I have enough information to prove that the triangles are congruent. Seeing that I have angle, angle, side, I do know that my triangles are congruent. So I'm going to say that triangle FGH is congruent to triangle JKL. And I'm going to use the angle, angle, side congruency theorem. And now I know if the triangles are congruent, then their parts must be congruent. So I can go ahead and say that FH is congruent to JL because congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So we have CPCTC. Go ahead and pause your video and do your try it and come back to check your information when you're done. What information is needed to prove the triangle is congruent by angle, side, angle? Well, I have an angle and then a side and then an angle. So I would need to have angle B congruent to, I have an angle, I have a side, I have an angle. That would need to be angle E. What information is needed to prove the triangle is congruent by angle, angle, side? I would need to have this angle be congruent to this angle in order for it to be angle, angle, side. So angle C would need to be congruent to angle